So a little follow-up to what we've been talking about. We've been talking about the intermittent fasting or the time-restricted eating and why if weight loss is a focus or mitochondrial health is a focus, which it should be for everybody, then we might want to think about rearranging when we eat that heaviest meal, whether dinner be the lightest meal of the day, not eating so much before bed when the energy demands are less, and thus that excess energy that we provide our body through the fuel that we eat can lead to detriments not only in weight gain but also to cellular dysfunction at a cellular level that can manifest as it accumulates to whole body, organ-wide tissue dysfunction. Pretty much any type of pathology that you could think of, we could trace it back to those origins. But here's another side of it, and now we're going to flip back maybe to the weight loss side of it and the focus. So that's at that nighttime, the nighttime feeding. Another aspect, if you're trying to jumpstart that metabolism, trying to jumpstart that metabolic flexibility to burning fat for fuel, then perhaps you also might want to make it that you're working out, exercise, whatever it is, your movement session, getting that in the morning in a fasted state before eating. So we cut off our dinner at night, 6, 7, with a lighter meal. We go to sleep. We utilize that whole window to burn through our fuel stores, burn through those glycogen stores in your body. You wake up in the morning. Now, instead of rushing for the traditional, I need to eat before I work out, I need to eat before this, I'm going to go in and I'm going to get my movement on without pre-fueling. So now I'm going to use up the rest of those energy stores that were in my body, the rest of that glycogen in my body. And at that point, the body has no other choice but to look around, not see anything there, and essentially start eating itself. Autophagy, if you will, in a certain form. I know it sounds weird, but that's the burning of the fat for fuel. We need fuel. We need fuel. We're not getting it from the outside. Okay, let me see. Okay, we got some adipose tissue here. We got some adipose tissue back here. Let me start to burn that. Let me start to mobilize that. Let me break down that fat, liberate that fuel. Start to create endogenous ketosis. You know, we hear about ketogenic diet and ketogenic this and keto that. A diet is one thing, and a diet can be less insulinogenic, meaning it spikes insulin less. But true ketosis, in the sense of the word, creating ketones in the body, which is essentially the fat breaks down into ketones, which we can use as fuel instead of glucose, which comes from the carbs or the sugar. True ketosis is when your body starts to break down that fat. You start to break down that fat for fuel, and now the fuel are the ketones. So we're able to mobilize that because you haven't fed. Now, a couple caveats to this. If your priority is performance and your priority is PRs, whether it's out on the streets in a run, speed work, or maybe in a box in the gym, whatever it is, lifting, maybe you want to then pre-fuel. Maybe you want to make sure you are getting some fuel in there so your performance doesn't suffer. Because I will say this, to a certain extent, especially as you start to implement this initially, you might notice a lag, and you might need to take it a little bit easier, and you might not be as strong. But that's why we got to look at everything not in black and white. It's all situationally and individually specific. What's your priority? If my priority is to get into ketosis, and to get some ketones flowing through my body, and to reap all the benefits from that, if my priority is to, man, I got to drop some weight, then maybe we fall back a little bit on the priority of every time I get out there, I got a PR on that speed work, or I got to get out there, it's got to be a big lift, or I got to finish the WOD in record time. Maybe we fall back on that, maybe even temporarily, or maybe on a workout by workout basis in order to implement or take advantage of the burning of the fat for fuel that can come with working out in a fasted state. Obviously go low and slow. We don't want anyone passing out. And you'll notice it starts to get a little bit easier and easier as your body gets more akin to burning the fat for fuel. We're not getting anything. Okay, let's mobilize those fat stores even after the workout. Now you've burned through that. Now the metabolism, you're burning the fat for fuel. If you can hold off and not instantly go to that old school traditional, now I got to down that protein shake. Now I got to down this fuel right after my workout. Again, what's your priority? If it's strength and putting on muscle, you might want to hit it with those amino acids. You might want to hit it with some protein right after. If it's replenishing the glycogen stores immediately, maybe you want to hit it with some carbs right after. If it's not, if it's burning the fat for fuel, if it's taking advantage of ketosis, maybe you wait a little bit after workout as well. Let the sympathetic nervous system calm down anyway. Get back more into the rest and digest state. Let it flow, let it calm down, and then feed when you're ready and you've utilized that fast plus the workout, which even jumpstarts you even further to burning fat for fuel, and now you're flowing in that state for as long as you want to, as long as you desire, as long as you're comfortable with, and you can burn that fat for fuel. Depending on how you close down the time-restricted eating window, the intermittent fasting window, there's no reason you can't do both of these strategies. Cut off the meals at 6, 7, 7:30 at night, around 3 hours before bedtime. Make that be a smaller meal, and then when you work out, it would have to be first thing in the day usually. You want to get that workout in early, and then fuel after that. Fuel after that as long as you want to. You can implement both these strategies concurrently. Again, knowing how the physiology works and using it to your advantage. Don't be stuck. Don't say you have no other choice and you can't seem to burn it. There's multiple strategies, and maybe one works for you. Maybe the other one works for you. Maybe they both work for you synergistically. You got to try it out. But the understanding is there. And if you haven't tried these routes, it could be a game changer.